This channel, we're not just looking for answers. We're seeking a deeper connection with the truth. We're on a journey to explore what it means to be a follower of Christ, to live a life of purpose, and to find joy in every circumstance. So whether you're a lifelong believer or just starting to ask questions, I'm honored to have you join me. So let's learn and grow together. I'd like to start to introduce myself, or a small iota of what my story is. And early on, in a bit of despair, I decided to ward off women. I'm sure we've all done that, or ward off relationships, and stop looking. And just decided that I would lead the bachelor life. The bachelor life didn't seem to be, what it was all cut out to be, but I was really just excited to be able to just work on projects and do what I wanted to do. But, I had already met the Lord. I called myself a Christian, but I really hadn't made any effort lately in years to clean up my act, so to speak. And I mean, if you're not lifting up Jesus in your actions and your thoughts and what you say and do, then it's pretty anti-Christian, I guess, is what I was acting like. Saying I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll quit this tomorrow, or I'll have a plan to quit what I need to do, and that plan will be tiered by however many things that it is that I'm addicted to, whether it be coffee or alcohol, medications, marijuana, whatever it is. I mean, if it's not lifting up Jesus, what is it doing? So, long story short, and I will go back in time and discuss, and you'll get to know me, and hopefully I'll get to know you guys through the comments and through interviews. But I will go back in time and discuss things in more detail if you guys are interested. But after I had already struggled for a while and already found Jesus, I was on like a 2-year sabbatical where after working for the healthcare system for many years, between 10 and 15 years, I'd had enough of working in pharmacy as a technician. I'd met the ceiling. I couldn't go any higher. And I also was getting really worn out. I mean, I loved what I did. I loved helping people. What pharmacy technicians and pharmacists do is very important. And my heart goes out to you all. If any of you have actually experienced what it's like to work in a pharmacy, it's a high-stress environment. And but the most important thing is the patients, and making sure that they understand that you care and that you're doing your best. But like I said, in the stressful environment that I was in, I had already had some addiction issues, and that just seemed to exacerbate it. I felt good about what I was doing to help people, but I didn't feel good about what I was doing to help myself, which was just, in a nutshell, just throwing a blanket over it and saying I'll take care of it later. You ever done that, where you have some company coming over and they're like, yeah, we'll be there in an hour, and You have a mess all over the place, so you just throw everything in one spot and put a blanket over it, and well, maybe that works, um, when you're entertaining friends, but it doesn't work in life, and it doesn't work to ignore the problem. And that's basically what I was doing. But it's always tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. And one of the things with Jesus, I realized it's today, 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 and forever. Um, you're not thinking about yesterday. You're not thinking about what you did. You need to accept what you did, repent from what you did, ask for forgiveness. Jesus is taking care of this. So, anyhow, after this 2-year sabbatical, and living with my best friend, just planning on, I suppose, like all those things that we've wanted to do, put off, a huge bucket list. I figured that I'd get through that bucket list, right? Well, I started to work at Ace Hardware, of all places, and I had been working in trades for many years, and more so in the few years that led up to this, plumbing, siding. I had already been a painter for many years, for interior and exterior commercial residential painting, and it was fun, it was freeing. I felt more alive than I did when I was cooped up in an office or a pharmacy. And I could never really do that very well to begin with. But once all that started to come together, I realized I found a really good group of people to work with. And in my quest for, finding myself and finding God, I found a job at an Ace Hardware with a bunch of really nice people. People there were great, friendly, like to work together, and then you get to help people too, but it's not as serious. So it's a lot more lighthearted. You still get to go home feeling good about what you did with your day. And I didn't have to keep covering everything up with a blanket as much as I did when I was working as a pharmacy technician and other jobs like that. So it wasn't as a high stress environment, and I didn't have as much stress going on. But at the time, I was still smoking a lot of marijuana, and that was probably one of my biggest things, and still to this day is one of the harder things to let go of. I mean, they say all drugs, are bad for addicts. You can't just be an addict and just, pick and choose what you want. But anyhow, at this place, I start working, and my first day, I remember seeing my wife before she was my wife, and thinking, I'm gonna get to know that gal. Sitting in the corner, half falling asleep, doing some modules on a computer, trying to make sure I get those done so that we can get out onto the floor. As I started working the next day, I met her, and for about 5 minutes, we stood there and talked to each other, introduced ourselves, proceeded to tell each other both of our life story in a nutshell, and then tell each other what was going on in our lives at the moment that was really bothering us. We both had a lot to get off our chest, apparently. And I won't rob you of the joy of that whole story, but for a year we were friends, and kept it that way. And then eventually dated, and 2 weeks later I asked her to marry me. Now we have 2 kids, a third on the way. Been married for a couple years, and the journey doesn't end there, the story doesn't end there, but it's just beginning, really. The story is good and we were happy, but there was the added stress of work and running my own business, which I chose to do at that point after no longer working at Ace Hardware. Fast forwarding a bit, and I really enjoy what I do, painting houses, helping people again, but this in a more personal way and in more of a way that I have a little bit more control what I can do to help everyone, and a little bit more creative license to do what I need to do for them. So I really enjoyed that, but running the business, keeping clients happy are fairly easy on their own, but expanding the business, I wanted to have a crew, a little bit more jobs than usual, and expand the clientele, expand my reach. And I did do that in time, and I did eventually get a crew and 2 to 3 guys, and then eventually like about 4 or 5 guys all together, and I was able to get several jobs done at once, and the Lord blessed me with more and more work, and but running it and profiting and business was not really my strong point. The painting was, and both my friends and coworkers did a very good job. We most of the time we had a really excellent reputation for just pleasing our customers and getting the job done for the price we said we were going to do. But as time went on, clients were harder to please, not so much for me, but with my crew, things started to, I lost grip with quality control and being able to make sure people were doing their jobs the way that they should. They had their own lives and their own problems and their own ways of dealing with them, and wasn't very good about laying down law on that. And so some people had alcohol problems, some people had regular marijuana use, and some people it eventually was almost such a thing that I needed to deal with, that I was avoiding dealing with, that it then sucked me in. That is where addiction probably got a real grip on me, and then just went completely out of hand. And it just, in a very short amount of time, I went from not being even close to an alcoholic to regularly using alcohol as a crutch. So that's not my entire story, but this is just the beginning. I would like to get to know you guys more. Seriously, just answer these endless questions, because there are not nearly enough answers out there. And here on this channel, we're not just looking for answers, we're seeking a deeper connection with the truth. That's it for now. I'll have a part 2 video with everything we plan to do, a little bit more background. I just want to leave you with this. Behold, I have given you the authority to tread on spirits and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing will injure you. Thank you.